So when I was 9 years old, we go out for lunch in London, having a nice lunch, open the papers, and it's like ringleaders of the world's largest criminal organization. And we're like, wait, what? And there's my father's picture in it. And here he is, an executive of a bank. We had lived in Oman, we had lived in Kuwait, China, all over the world doing banking on, frontier banking in the global south. And somehow this bank was accused of everything that you could ever think of banks being accused of: money laundering, supporting criminal organizations. The laundry list was long.
Whoa.
So we went to Karachi literally the next day. A bunch of people that had worked for the bank, who were in top leadership, who were executives that were related. Some were related to us. Some had just become family over the years. They were jailed in prison. Some of them died in prison. And so it was just kind of the scarlet letter that we lived with, where in Pakistan and in the global south, everyone was always like, oh, it was so unjust. It was, a complete Western conspiracy. And everyone in the West was like, oh, you guys always think it's the Western conspiracy.
Mm.
And then, of course, in 2008, another massive banking crisis happened, in which the banks were accused of laundering billions, supporting many, many criminal organizations, and they were all bailed out. No one was jailed.
And you were not, and your father was not bailed out, and his people were not bailed. No one
They
was.
were not bailed out. And so I
So
just
when,
started wondering
so this
what
doves
happened.
us. So when you're 9 years old, family,
Intrigue.
Right. So
right?
as like a journalist student, we're always talking about like, I feel like you're so close to the story and this like narrative. Like, do you think that makes you more equipped to tell it, or like, is there challenges with like being like your dad was like part of this thing that you're like now like going deep into? Like, how is that experience?
Yeah, it's really been personally very difficult because it opens a lot of old wounds. So there's that part of it. But, the question that you're, I think, kind of circling is one of objectivity as
Mm,
well. Is that right?
yeah.
Yeah. And so I just take issue with objectivity, like, punto. Like, I don't think that there is
Mm.
objectivity in any
Mhm.
case. Like, we all come from a certain background, we all have beliefs, all of that. And if there was objectivity, then you wouldn't have had a cover of Time magazine calling the bank the sleaziest bank in the world. That's
Mm.
not objectivity.
100%. Yeah.
The allegations were not thoroughly investigated.
How do you guys even decide what's true or not true in the world
Yeah.
we live in with social media?
I don't know. I feel like it's hard for me to answer that because it's like my major is to do that. And we talk a lot about like engagement in my classes because like young people, it's hard to get them engaged, like blah, blah, like story we've heard a million times. So I feel like before that knowledge, I was just like, everything's fake because like that's
Mm.
what everyone says. But then after that, it's like you have the power to like, everyone has a phone, everyone has the internet, not everyone, but a lot of people have the internet and the phone, and, like, if you have the, like, will to find the truth, like, you can find it, but I think that it's hard when you're not in a space where, like, that narrative is available to you, like, so many people don't go to schools that talk about that kind of stuff and don't study it, so it's really hard. I think I'm, like, the exception, not the rule for my generation,
Mhm.
and, I mean, everyone's getting their news off TikTok, like, point blank period, like, that's not fake, like, 100% they are.
He asked the question, do you think in today's day and age we can have healing, self-actualization, etc., without psychedelics? And she said no. And she said, but the reason is that the rate of acceleration of destruction on our planet, that's unique. But
Mm,
compounded by the rate at which we are receiving images,
Mm.
information, it's actually our nervous systems cannot handle it.
Being like, it's sort of, I have a mantra for myself that I've developed over these years, which is as long as I stay sober, everything will be okay. Even if, I lose all my money or something happens or I get divorced, whatever that I will be fundamentally okay, you know? And so I'm really interested in this kind of journeys and expansion, but I'm also, as a self-identified addict, I'm sort of addicted to expansion, and I love leaving the real normal world. I consider a lot of my spiritual malady to be sort of this a- aversion to regular life. I want life to be magic, you know? And so what I'm afraid of is like, I need regular life to be magic. I
so, I think the question is, like, that stuff you've tried to heal with sobriety, therapy, XYZ, what makes plant medicine something alluring that doesn't make everything else alluring?
Well, the thing that's like ding, 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 because I've talked to my inner child. I've worked through meditation and prayer. I do know this lovable place inside of me. I can see her. You know, I've talked to
Mhm.
my 8-year-old. I've talked to my 4-year-old. I have a relationship with these people, these children in me. You know, even my inner teenager who is a see you next Tuesday. You
Same. Same. When she comes into my journeys, I'm like, hold on.
Oh,
Oh my God, here she is. And she just does this next to me. And I'm like, oh my God, I was having a really relaxing chat with God. And now here you are.
yeah. I mean, my inner teenager is like, fuck you. And like,
Yeah.
just gives 0 fucks and just wants to
Do
burn
you
the
think
house down.
I was worse as a teenager or you, Mom?
I
Ooh.
think, you know what? I think we were probably very, very similar. But my stepmother was just so strict.
That you couldn't, like, actually
It
rebel?
was so repressed and it was like things that you did, like walk out of the house with no bra, which now I realize everybody does. It's fine. But like if I did, are you kidding? You know, or makeup. I wasn't allowed to wear makeup. Meanwhile, I was like buying you makeup. Do you know what I mean? I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's cute. Like that was not what I grew up with. I grew up with like, she wanted me to be like this like Puritan, like worker, you know, just to get so I grew up with this like worker, Puritan, do your work, you know. And I really think my relationship to pleasure was that's where my trauma is, quite
Yeah.
frankly. And I
I mean,
believe
I
that
think it's kind of showing up right here, right?
yes. Tell
It's
me.
showing up right here. Like there is a very puritanical aspect for folks when they talk about psychedelics and they're like, well, that's not doing the work.
Yeah, the work is like
It's not
pray
doing the
in this
work.
moment for God to
Yeah, it's hard. It's grit your
right
teeth.
here. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that hard.
Yeah.
One, sometimes psychedelics are really hard.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll kick your ass. You know, ayahuasca is called abuelita, the grandmother. And you know, your grandmother's love is very warm and it's a slap in the face. Right?
Mm,
So it's both. It's hard, it's pleasurable. I mean, you know, I think the medicine calls you. I actually really believe that.
mm,
And I think that as soon as you put it in the frame, not of my healing thing, like, so this is a thing that I think I'm unique in this, or I don't see a lot of people in this, and that it's like heal your trauma, go to a therapist, strive for your own perfection as a human being, strive for that best relationship with your inner child. And I'm like, visit the sacred,
mm,
And what does
right?
that, like, mean, though?
You know, the sacredness of this life that we're given, the blessing of being alive that we
Mm.
forget in the everyday. And not a single person comes out of a journey and doesn't remember that their calling is to serve humanity. Now,
mhm,
some of them become proud boys because that's what
That's how they think they can serve humanity.
mhm,
some of them become Elon Musk, you know? So there's no, but for me, it's like, you know, yes, you may have profound healing with your inner child. Is your mother still with us or is she passed?
I feel like so many issues are, well, men had the world for forever, and now women had the world, but now why can't we both have the world? And like all of these, but now it's like, especially in like New York City, it's a melting pot, and the history comes before the present sometimes. And
Mm.
like having that understanding of like you're the beheaded and the beheader is like, I think healing for like the globe and like the nations of like everywhere.